Fans have been patiently waiting for the second season of The Witcher, and with so much to look forward to, the hype has built to an incredible level, with plenty of news and rumors coming out to further stoke that anticipation. In today's video, we're going to be talking over the most exciting news stories with the arrival of Season 2, including a discussion from the show's creator with regards to the potential fate of one of its most important characters. Stay tuned. But first, what is The Witcher? Wow, that is a loaded question. We don't want to go on forever here, so I'll try to sum this up as concisely as possible. The Witcher, or at least the version of it that we're discussing today, is a fantasy drama series created by showrunner Lauren Schmidt Hissrich. Hissrich is well known as a scriptwriter, having worked on shows such as The West Wing, Marvel's Daredevil, and The Umbrella Academy, with The Witcher representing her first real foray into the world of producing and showrunning. The series, which saw its first season released in its entirety on Netflix in December of 2019, is based off of the book series of the same name, written by Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski, and in the past, this same book series has been successfully adapted into a critically acclaimed video game series, once again bearing the same name as the original books written by Sapkowski. There's a lot of The Witcher out there, and summing it all up would take longer than the runtime of this video. But to focus back on the TV series, the story is set on the fictional landmass known as the Continent, following the story of a monster hunter named Geralt of Rivia, who must contend not only with the beasts he hunts, but also the evil of man too. Crown Princess Ciri and the sorceress Yennefer of Vengerberg represent two of the show's other most major characters, and much of the first season revolves through following they and Geralt's completely separate stories until all three of their paths finally cross. The series has received generally positive reviews, with the performance of leading man Henry Cavill as Geralt in particular being praised, and by this point a third season has already been confirmed. Sapkowski himself seems to adore the show, which is quite nice, and its first season was one of the most popular watching experiences on Netflix. So if you haven't given it a watch, you should at least give it a try. Now that we've laid that groundwork, this is your official warning that from this point on, we are going to be freely firing off spoilers as we discuss some of the biggest news heading into Season 2. If you have not seen the first season, then this is your final chance. First off, Witcher Cinematic Universe? Cinematic universes are all the rage nowadays. Obviously, there's Marvel, who have perfected the concept to such an extent that it has led them to probably the most profitable series of films to ever exist, each one building upon the other further and further like an unstoppable machine. DC are trying their best to fight back with a universe of their own, and despite their staggered start, are starting to see some success. Even Star Wars seems intent on pulling something like that off with its endless waves of spin-off films, and already has plenty of material to steal from with the expanded universe. With all of this in mind, could we potentially be looking at a Witcher cinematic universe? Showrunner Lauren Schmidt Hissrich has been discussing the possibility recently, as she confirmed that the upcoming second season of The Witcher sets up dominoes, not only for the already confirmed third season, but for future projects, including spin-off shows like the upcoming Blood Origins, which will be a mini-series adapted by author Sapkowski himself, acting as a prequel for the main Netflix show. Talking with Polygon, Hissrich noted that the thought of building out a universe was the thing that I never counted on, but it was never the original intention for the Witcher series to spawn so many connected projects. Despite the fact that this seems to have been a complete accident, however, Hissrich seems to believe that it all makes perfect sense, as she mentioned how there are so many stories that the writers for the Netflix show have not been able to explore, and they are stories that deserve their own projects. She has a point. Sapkowski has written a lot of books, whether they be his main Witcher work or spin-off novels. It would appear that there is plenty of material there, so we could very well be looking at the first TV-spawned cinematic universe unfolding before our eyes. Next up, Adjoa Ando teases big change. The Witcher has a new cast member heading into Season 2, which is always exciting in itself, not least when said newcomer Yennefer is someone as excellent as Adjoa Andoh. The British actress has a wealth of experience in essentially every form of acting you can think of, starting with an extensive history as a stage actress, where she played leading roles for the likes of the Royal Shakespeare Company and the National Theatre. As well as the stage, she has performed in important roles for major TV shows, including appearances as Francine Jones in Doctor Who and Colette Griffiths in Casualty. There's no doubt that Andoh will prove an asset to The Witcher as she prepares to portray the character of Nenneke, a priestess with a lot of history with key character Geralt, having known the monster hunter since he was a child. It's clear that Andoh is just as excited to be in The Witcher as we are to see her in it, as she has been speaking to the media plenty in the build-up to the long-awaited second season, and even treated us to an insight into what we'll see on the 17th of December. Obviously, she hasn't been able to reveal any of the finer details of the plot, noting that if she did, she'd likely be taken outside and left in a deserted field. But she has claimed that the internal life of the characters in the world of The Witcher will take on a far more prominent role this time around. In Andoh's own words, the battle lines have been drawn and the desires have been articulated, meaning that there is now room for a deeper, richer look into these characters that you've come to know and love. Though she hasn't gone into specifics, Andoh has given us plenty of reason to be excited with the prospect of getting to learn even more about our favorite characters in the next season. Moving on, Ciri's journey. This is another story revolving around showrunner Hissrich discussing future plans for the show, and isn't that just nice? It's quite clear how excited she is by this whole affair, warms your heart a bit. Anyways, Hissrich recently joined a TSA panel alongside actresses Freya Allan and Anya Chalotra, who play Princess Cirilla and Yennefer of Vesterberg respectively, to promote the upcoming season and even reveal some elements of the show's plot. As we know, Season 1 ended with Geralt believing Yennefer to be dead after fighting at the Battle of Sodden, and the second season seems like it will focus on the Witcher's attempts to escort Princess Ciri through the ever-dangerous world of the continent so that he can take her to the safest place he knows of, his childhood home. It would appear that Ciri isn't going to spend this entire journey twiddling her thumbs, however, as Hissrich confirmed that part of the journey will see Ciri training to become a Witcher under Geralt's tutelage. The showrunner was full of praise for Freya Allan too, noting how whenever she would send recordings of her practicing her sword-fighting skills, she would leave the stunt team amazed, as she was such a natural in the skill. Allan said that one of her favorite aspects of The Witcher is that female characters, such as Ciri or Yennefer, have just as much of a story as their male counterparts, such as Geralt, creating a world full of interesting and dynamic characters regardless of gender. There was also a suggestion from Chalotra that Season 2 will not fall into the trap of representing its women as invulnerable, as their biggest fears and the challenges of overcoming them will also play a key role in their arcs throughout Season 2. This will ensure that The Witcher, as Chalotra says herself, will represent real women who might be weak at times. Finally, what time will Season 2 be out? The Witcher Season 2 is set to release on the 17th of December, and as is the standard now with Netflix shows, the full 8-episode season will be released in one go, allowing viewers to binge to their heart's content, though the episodes clock in at anywhere between 40 to 60 minutes each, so we probably wouldn't recommend that. No judgment either way. What time can we expect the episodes to actually release? Well, Netflix tends to drop new content at 12 a.m. PST, which translates to 3 a.m. EST, 8 a.m. in the UK, and 7 p.m. in Australia. And that is everything you need to know about Season 2 of The Witcher before it releases. Are you excited for the second season? Have any bold predictions? Feel free to let us know down in the comments. And until next time, we'll see you soon.